Hello, hi everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you guys? Okay, so let me continue where we left. So let me remind what we did and what we covered in previous sessions. So initially we started discussing regarding the enterprise structure. We also call that enterprise structure as org structure. We defined it and assigned it. Then we started with the master data. In master data, we said that we have material master, supplier master, source list, PIR, and a service master. In a list of master data, we covered the material master, how the material master is created by the end user, and how a consultant needs to configure it. And then we moved to the business partner. Business partner is nothing but a supplier. We saw how BP is created by end user and also the configuration part of a consultant. So today we will cover rest of the master data, which includes the source list and PIR. So let me share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen. So today we'll be seeing the rest of master data, which is source list and the purchase info record. And we will be having one more master data, which is service master. That topic we will cover after the P2P cycle. Only then you will understand what is service master. So first, we will discuss what is source list, and then we will discuss regarding the PIR today. And then tomorrow we'll start with the P2P cycle. We will have a brief discussion on the P2P cycle, and also we'll try to cover how it is configured. Okay. So source list. So now what is this source list and how it is created? For this source list, there is no configuration. And for this PIR, there is no configuration. So source list is completely a part of end user job. Then why are we covering here? We are covering here because we need to know what is source list. A consultant needs to know what all are available in SAP in the perspective of Only then you will be able to explain the end user what is the term called source list in SAP. So first, let us see what are the transaction.
Venkatesh, are you speaking something? It's not audible for me.
are you there?
Sorry, my internet got disconnected and my system also got crashed. 1 second. Okay, let me recall what we are speaking. We are speaking regarding the source list and the PIR. Source list is a part of master data, and purchase info record is also a part of master data. So these are the two master data which are left, which we need to cover today. So let me share my screen back. Yeah. So as I mentioned, this source list and PIR is not a part of a consultant job. This is a part of an end user job. And I also mentioned that we are going to learn this because we need to train the end users. So whenever we are introducing SAP to the end users of business, we need to know each and every part of the SAP. So what is available in SAP and what is not. If suddenly if business is going to ask you if this function is available in SAP, then you need to know if it is available or not. Is this going to happen in SAP or not? So we need to know each and every part of the module. Then we will be more confident to answer the business. So first, let me tell you that what are the transaction codes we use to create the source list and to create the PIR. So first transaction code will be ME01 is to create source list. Then you have ME02 to change source list. And ME03 display the source list. But most of the consultant will not use all these transaction codes. They will use only this one transaction code to create, change, and display. Because using this one transaction code, we can do all the activities. But you need to guide end user to use these three transactions because of the authorization issues. Authorization issues should not come because only some people should have access to create the source list, and some should not have the access to create, only to display. In that case, while end of the project, a basis consultant will ask you what are the authorization requests or what all the roles should a buyer have or an user should have. Then we should define these all roles and give it to him. So then it will help to us to define who should create, who should display, and who should change. Okay. Then coming to the second list of transaction codes for PIR, it is ME11 is to create. PIR is nothing but purchase info record. Okay. Then to change, it is ME12. Purchase info record. Then to display, it is ME13 is to display. These are the transaction codes which we use for what exactly is this source list. First, we'll discuss what is source list, and then we will discuss what is PIR. Total number of suppliers, for example, you have materials. Materials you have is 10,000 in your organization. Okay, and you have a suppliers of 5,000, for example. Okay, so now who knows that which material is supplied by which supplier? Okay, that part. So one material M1, can be supplied by multiple vendors. So where are we going to tell this information, or where are we going to store this information in system? And there might also be this supplier might only deliver the goods in this certain time period. If you take an example of Europe, so Europe will take a summer holidays of 1 month. When they have summer, they take 1 month of holiday. In that period, the suppliers will not be able to deliver any goods. If you're buying import material and your supplier is in Europe, then in this summer period of 4 weeks, you will not get any goods or you will not get the material delivered. So every information needs to be stored in system. So where are we going to store this information? This particular material is supplied by how many suppliers? And when are they going to supply? What is the time frame or time period? So to use that functionality, store this information in system, we use this functionality called as source list. The source list is nothing but the source of supply. Source is nothing but from where it is originating. wherever the material is getting originated, and from where are we getting that supply, or where are we getting that material. Those are called as source of supply. Initially, we spoke only regarding materials, what are suppliers. Now we are going to combine these two topics, and we are telling an option called source list, which gives the suppliers who can supply this particular material, from where I can purchase this material for a particular plant. And for example, we said that this material is supplied by these three vendors in different time frame. You can also differentiate for each plant. For example, in your business, you have plant 1, plant 2, plant 3. In each plant, in every plant, you are using the material M1, same M1. So based on the plant specific purchase org or the standard purchase org, they are doing their own negotiation. They are not taking the information from reference purchase org. And these plants has decided that they want to buy the material from different vendors. So this plant has decided from this vendor. This plant is from this vendor. This plant is from this vendor. So this information also can be stored in the plant wise in this source list. For each plant, you can define different vendors. So when you define the vendors here, this vendor will be proposed when you are placing a purchase requisition. When you are ordering my material, then this will propose this from this vendor you need to buy this material. As I mentioned, you have M1, you have 3 plants. So whenever you are purchasing the material for plant 1, if plant 1 is having a requirement of a material M1, then system will always go to the vendor V1. When you are purchasing for plant 2, the same material, the system will propose V2. And one more thing, we can have multiple vendors in this source list. We can say that in plant 1, for this material is supplied by V1. In this same plant, for the same material, it is supplied by V2. These are the alternate vendors. There is no condition that you should have only one vendor. You can have n number of vendors. Okay, and you also have an option to say system that which vendor is more preferable and which are the alternatives. And you also have an option to block the vendor here. For example, you are buying this material from this vendor every time. Further, you don't want to buy the material from this vendor. In that case, you can block the vendor, saying that I don't want to buy the material from him anymore. So the system will block those. Okay, so that is how the source list works. We will see in system, then you will have more clarity on this blocking and fixing the vendor. Okay, and this source list is used only for this particular purpose, to say from which vendor you need to buy the material. For different plants, and how can you fix the vendor and how can you block the vendor. Now, if we speak in S4 point of view, we usually use source list to just give who are the approved vendors and from where you need to buy and what period you need to buy, and who are the blocked vendors, who are the fixed vendors. When I say blocked vendors, you can still block the vendors in the vendor master, but you cannot block the vendor for particular material. If you want to block the vendor for particular material, for example, one vendor is supplying you some multiple goods. he is supplying, V1 is supplying M1, M2, M3, M4. Now he is supplying all these materials, and all materials are good in the quality wise, delivery wise, everything. But he has no quality in M4, or he's not delivering a good product in M4. Then if you block the vendor completely, he will not be able to deliver all these materials. If you want to block the vendor only for this particular material, then you can use this source list functionality. Okay. Apart from this, there is no use of the source list. Okay. Now let me take a quick pause before I start purchasing for record. If you have any questions in the source list, let's get those clear and then move forward.
Hi Venkatesh, good morning.
Yes.
Will the vendor be notified if he is blocked?
No. In this case, the vendor will not get notified because that is the business decision and they don't want to communicate with the vendor.
Okay, thank you.
Hi Venkatesh, I have a question.
Yes.
What are the particular criteria we'll follow to select a vendor for particular material? For example, one material is supplied by different vendors, but what criteria will select the SAP system will follow to select that material?
That depends on the negotiation. So normally negotiation will happen based on the price, the lead time, and the payment terms. That is what the sourcing people do. And they will negotiate with the vendors and see which vendor is going to give you better price with less lead time and with more payment terms. So based on that combination, they are going to decide from whom they should buy and who should be the first priority vendor.
I heard that some ranking system will be displayed in SAP system like 1, 2, 3, 4 in such a way we can select the materials.
Yes, that is in the part of RFQ.
Oh, okay.
So we will see how RFQ works also.
Okay, clear.
Venkatesh, one more question. Suppose if you block him and let in future, if you need any materials from him, can it be retrieved?
Yes, it can be retrieved. In source list, you can block the vendor for particular material permanently and also temporarily.
Okay,
You can unblock and block whenever you want.
thank you.
Yeah.
What is the major differences between source list and business partner data? Since both have the vendor details, what makes it different from each other?
Source list and vendor master, you mean?
Yes.
Vendor master is just a vendor. You are just defining the vendor. But in vendor master, you are not telling that from where you are, from what all materials you are going to buy from this vendor.
Okay, here in source list, the product will be fixed
Yes.
with the vendor.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, sir. This is Mahendra.
Yeah.
There any provision in the source list where we can get to know the vendor rating?
No, it is not.
Okay. So is there any another option where we get this information, or it is uh, the user's system which give the information? Is there any provision in SAP where we are get to know the vendor rating?
Yes, you have an option called supplier evaluation.
Okay.
So there we will be able to see.
Okay. Okay.
Any more questions? Okay. If no questions, then let me move to the next topic, which is purchasing for record. So what is this exactly a purchasing for record? Now we saw the source list saying that we can have the combination of plant plus material plus vendor. So plant plus material plus vendor, and we are going to just see from which vendor are we going to buy the material, and who is a fixed vendor and who is a block vendor. Now in this purchasing for record, this, if you read from right, it is a record of information which is going to store your purchase. So purchase info record is going to store the previous information, what is processed. For example, today you have a new vendor created, and that vendor is supplying you multiple materials. You'll place an initial purchase order to him. So you are purchasing that material from him, and you are giving a price of 100 euros or 100 USD. So based on that information, system is going to store that information somewhere. That part is called as purchase info record. So how this purchase info record is getting stored on which combination? So source list is a combination of material, plant, supplier. But purchase info record is also having a combination. It is going to have a combination of material plus supplier. Okay. In which purchase organization is going to buy this? Okay. Plus for which plant you're buying it, plus what type of procurement it is. In these terminologies, you know what is material, you know what is supplier, and this material is purchased from which supplier you will get from source list. But you can extend your combination. Which purchase org is buying or which plant it is buying. And coming to this type of procurement is nothing but, is it a standard purchase? Or in SAP, we have different types of procurement. One is standard, which normally we buy the material. Then we have the consignment, we have the stock transfer, we have the subcontracting. So we have a lot of type of procurements that we will be seeing in upcoming classes. So normally purchase info record, we will call it as PIR. Okay. Now, what is the importance of this PIR? So we know that from which supplier we need to buy this particular material from source list, and you are fixing it and blocking it. But why are we using this purchase info record? This purchase info record is going to store more data compared to the source list. So for example, whenever I'm buying this material from this supplier, at what price should I buy? That information can be stored here. Every time when I'm purchasing this material with this supplier, I don't want to input the price manually. I don't want to input the price manually. So price will come automatically into the purchase order. And apart from this, there are more options in the purchase info record, like what is the MOQ? Minimum order quantity. So sometimes supplier will accept only so many quantities, saying that if you are ordering 1 piece, I'll not be delivering it. At least you need to order more than 5 pieces. Then the minimum order quantity to the supplier is 5 pieces. So we cannot remember all this information, like for example, what is standard quantity, what is minimum order quantity, what is the price, what is the lead time, and who is the salesperson. Right? What confirmation control key we need to use, what is the tax code should come for this particular material combination with supplier. So all this we cannot remember. So that is the reason we are going to have an option called purchase info record, where we are going to store this information with the combination of material plus supplier plus purchase order plus plant and the type of procurement. Okay. And the main thing is the lead time, which is also called as planned delivery time. This plays a very important role in the purchase info record. Why? If you have observed, this planned delivery time is also in the material master. This planned delivery time is also in the vendor master or supplier master. If you are not observed, you will have this material master, planned delivery time in material master in MRP2 view. In vendor master, you will see it in the purchasing view. Now let me take an example. You have a material which is M1. This M1 has a lead time of 10 days. Okay. And you have a supplier master which is V1. And this vendor is saying I have 15 days in lead time. So if this is the case, what you will do, you will go to material master, you will go to MRP2 view, and you will maintain 10 days. You will go to vendor master, you will go to purchasing and maintain 15 days. Okay. Now, when you are buying the material from this vendor, so let me take another example. Let me take M2 also. He is telling 15 days. M3, he is telling 20 days. Okay. In each and every material, you can have different lead time. But in vendor master, you can have only one lead time. So what they do, they take these 3 into different materials and they put the average lead time in this vendor master. But that is not correct. So if I want to just buy the material M3, if I place an order, will my lead time take from material master or vendor master? Now system is a bit confused. From which master data should I take the lead time? In material, I have 20 days, but in vendor master, I have 15 days. So if I'm creating a purchase order today, system will note that supplier is having a lead time of 15 days and it will add 15 days. In the same case, if the material is having 20 days, will system add 20 days? In that case, what happens? System will prefer to take any one of these both, and system will not give an option to you. System will pick the number randomly. To make this avoid, we are combining this material plus vendor. Whenever you are buying material M3 with this vendor V1, then it should be 20 days. Whenever I'm buying M1 with V1, it should be 10 days. So this combination can be created in the purchase info record. For each and every combination, you will create an individual PIR. This is the first PIR. This is the second PIR. So if any information is getting varied, for example, this is M1, this is V1. If you're buying for this purchase org, for this plant and standard, then one entry. Same material, you're buying from same vendor, same purchase org, but different plant, then you will have one more entry. So when your combination is getting changed, you will have different set of PIRs. So for one material, you can have multiple PIRs based on the combination you have here. That means whenever supplier will receive a purchase order, if all these combinations are matching in the purchase order, like material is M1, vendor is V1, purchase order is 1994, and plant is 1994, then system will pick all the information from this purchase info record, the price and the lead time also, which is very, very important. So whenever we want to create a specific record between a vendor and supplier, so it should be always in the combination of material plus supplier plus purchase order plus plant. As of now, leave type of procurement. We'll discuss that later. Okay. So that is how the purchase info record is going to help you to manage. Okay. Any questions?
Venkatesh, as you told, we'll take information from material master, this lead time.
Normally, if you don't have purchase info record, yes.
Okay, suppose in purchase information record, from where will we extract that data? Is it from material master or from vendor master?
Not from material or vendor, it is taken from the vendor confirmation.
Okay.
Normally, we prefer the material master, but we also need to check with vendor is the values right in the material master or not.
Okay, thank you.
In the meanwhile, I'll log into system. Any more questions? Okay, if no questions, then we'll move to SAP and see what is the impact of source list and what is the impact of purchasing for recording system. Let me share my screen back. So first, let's see what is the impact of source list. So to do that, let me create a material. I'll go to M01 and I'll create a material. Just to refresh. So I'm going to select a basic data, purchasing data. If you want to see the planned delivery date, then I'll take the MRP. Okay. And the general plant and accounting. I'm going to create it for this plant and this location. Okay. Now I'll tell this is a test material for source list and PIR. Okay, visit of measure, material group, whole material number. In the purchasing, this is very important. In the purchasing view, you will have an option called source list here. This needs to be enabled. If you want to use the source list functionality for materials, then you should enable this source list. If you don't enable this source list, system will not suggest to use source list. If you enable this functionality, then system will always go and search for the source list. If you don't have source list, the system will not allow you to create any purchase order. So why? In source list, as I mentioned, you will have only the approved vendors. For example, today a buyer is coming and he wants to purchase a material and he has his own vendor who is a random vendor. So buyer is seeing that he is a local vendor and he knows him very well and he need to place an order to that particular vendor. But that is not a buyer's decision. In a business, you will have head of purchase. So head of purchase is going to decide which material should be brought from which vendor. And that list is updated in the source list. If you want to use that list or if you want to only purchase the material from that vendors, then when you're creating a material, you need to have this source list enabled. So I'm enabling this in the MRP view. As of now, don't work all those things. Here you have the planned delivery time. So I'll maintain 10 days here. Okay. And in the accounting view, I'll maintain the valuation class and the price. Okay. And I'm saving the material. This is my material. Okay, I saved it. Let me take some notepad. This is my material. Okay. Now I have a vendors. These are the vendors. So these two vendors are supplying this payment material. Assume that these two vendors are supplying the material in the market. So I'm a buyer and I'm going to create a purchase order. So if I go and create a purchase order, just avoid this also. We'll see this part tomorrow. Just see the errors what we get here. So if I'm going to buy this material from this supplier, okay, I'm putting a purchase org, I'm putting a purchase group, and I'm putting a plant. I'm putting my quantity. Net price is this. You need to observe this error. Whenever I'm trying to create a purchase order, after I activate the source list in the material master, I'm getting an error saying that this material is not included in the source list. You have not maintained the source list for this material. Means in system, SAP was not able to find any of the vendors in the system. So if you have activated this source list, and if you don't have the vendors in the source list selection, then system will not allow you to create the source list. Or system will not allow you to create the purchase order. It will directly give an error saying that this material is having a source list enabled in the material master, but in system I'm not able to find any of the vendors. This is very, very important. If you get this error, then that means you have activated the source list in the material master, but you don't have information from which vendor are you going to buy the material. Now, let me go to the transaction to create the source list. It is ME01. So I put a material, I'm putting a plant. Here you have the option called valid from and valid to. From which period to which period are we going to buy the material? For example, I'm telling system that from 14th of June till August. Till August or September, I'm going to buy this material from this supplier. If you want, you can also add the purchase order. Okay, and I'm saving this. Now, if I go and create a purchase order again, let me go back. Let me create it. I'll put the same supplier, same information as before. Now it is not this. Okay, if I check, now there is no error. You don't get any error message saying that there is no error. And you can save. Because now system has found an entry in the source list. Now if I just change the vendor, okay, I put a price, system will again give me that error because system is not able to find that vendor in the source list. Because in the source list, you have only one vendor. Now if I add the vendor again, the second vendor also again, System now will not give me any error. I close this and refresh. I have to go back and create it again. Then system will not give me any error. If I trigger it again, let me do that. Now I'm using the 725 vendor, which is newly added. Material with plant, with the quantity, with price. Okay. I need to remove this checkbox. It is removed. Okay. Now you don't see any error. Except a warning, you don't have any error. So this is the reason when you activate the source list in the material master, you should have an entry in the source list. Some business might use source list and some business might not use source list. In that case, when business is not using source list in the material master, it should be deactivated. When business is using source list, it should always be activated in material master, and you should have the defined vendors in the source list transaction. This is the importance of source list. Now, if we move to the second option in source list, what happens if we fix the vendor? What happens if we block the vendor? So let me close this. We cancel this. Now let me go open the same material with a combination of plant, and I'm fixing this vendor and saving it. I get one more error here. What is the error? So the system is telling that if you want to fix the vendor, you need to have the purchase info record created. So the system is saying, create an info record to fix this vendor. Okay, now let us come to the fixed part later. Let us block the vendor. I'll block this vendor, which is 725, and save. Now, if I go and create the purchase order with the 725 vendor, what system will tell? System will tell that this supplier is blocked for purchase. You can still buy the different material from that vendor, but you cannot buy this material from this vendor. I'm putting a quantity. Okay, price. So you get a new error saying that the source of supply is blocked. System is telling this supplier is blocked for this particular material. If you want to unblock, you can go to the same transaction and unblock it. Now, if I try to buy another material, and I'm putting a price, system is allowing me to create, but only for this specific item. Only for this specific item, system is blocking me not to buy because I have blocked this material for the purchase. Okay, so this is how the source list works. I have not shown you the fixed functionality. I can show you the fixed functionality after we complete the purchase info record. So let us keep it aside. Any questions here? Any questions?
Venkatesh, whose job is to block the vendors? Is it end users or
It is end users.
okay.
Any more questions? Okay. If no questions, I'll move to PIR. So to create the PIR or the purchase info record, we use the transaction ME11. So I'll be using the transaction ME11. So as I mentioned, for purchase info record, the combination is different. The combination is supplier, material, purchase org, plant. So I put this supplier 725, put this material, and I'll put for particular purchase organization. For example, now your material is same, supplier is same, but your plant is different. You need to create one more entry. For each and every different combination, if any one of the entry is missing, then we need to create one more entry. Okay, so enter. And one more thing here, you have the info category. Info category is nothing but what type of procurement are you doing? So here are the different types of procurement we have. We have standard, we have subcontracting, consignment, all these things are different types of procurement. We will see this later on. As of now, let's focus on standard. So I keep standard and click on enter. So these are the information which are going to have in the combination of material and the supplier. So first thing is the reminders. If you want to send the reminders to supplier after you sending the purchase order, reminder. So I want to send the first reminder in 2 days, second reminder in 4 days, and third reminder is 6 days. So based on this date, system will trigger a reminder to the supplier. Okay, one second. Okay, the third. So how you have the material number in SAP, even the supplier will have his own material number. So that can be mentioned here with the supplier material group. Then you have the salesperson who is in contact with you and what is the telephone number of his. Okay, these are the information which we will be filling. And coming to the second thing here, you have the unit of measure conversion. So think that you are going to buy the material in 1 unit of measure, but supplier is going to give you in another unit of measure. So what is that meant is, whenever you are going to invert the material, you're going to take the material into your warehouse. You need to take each. But supplier is giving you in liter. That can be maintained here. You have to order the material in liter. So keep liter. Click check. And 1 liter is equal to how many each? For example, let me take in dairy industry. If you're buying 1 liter of milk from vendor, you are going to have 2 packets of milk in it. Okay, and the same conversion should be applied in your material master also. In your material master, you will have additional unit of measure that needs to be maintained. Okay, now I was in general data. Now I'll go to the second level, which is purchase organization data. Here you have what is the lead time. So in material master, if you remember, we maintain 10 days. So I'll maintain 30 days here. Okay, you have the purchase group coming. What is the MOQ? I'll tell 10 liters. Okay. Then I say maximum quantity. What is the maximum quantity you can place in one PO? I'll tell 100. Okay. What are the tolerances? If supplier is sending much more or a bit less, so can we do the goods receipt or not? That is a tolerance here. Then you have the GR-based invoice verification. If you have this, then a 3-way match will apply. If you don't have this, then 2-way match will apply. You have a tax code, which tax code should flow to the PO. So all the information what you have here will come into your purchase order. And I'm telling the price should be 20 INR. Okay. Then I go to conditions. Check the price, 20 INR. Now I want to introduce a new concept called scaling. In SAP, you have a new concept called scaling. Let me explain that. Let me explain it here itself. So scaling is nothing but what is the quantity you are buying from vendor, and based on the quantity, supplier will give you the price. So for example, if you are buying less than 10 pieces, less than 10 pieces, then the supplier will give you the price of 20 rupees. If you are buying from the range 10 to 20, sorry, this is a date format, number. change it to text. Okay, if I'm going to buy from 10 to 20 pieces, then he will be giving for 19. If I'm buying from 21 to 30, he will be giving for 18. If I'm buying from 31 to 40, he will be giving me for 17. So this is the market strategy. Now, whenever you are buying more quantity, you get it for less price. But how you can say a system that whenever I am buying more quantity, how should I set this? In here, I have only one option, which is net price amount. So for 1 liter, he is charging me 20 INR. So how can I fix that? Based on the quantity, the price is getting changed. So here you have an option called decreasing scales. You can maintain the value here. Whenever you are buying greater than 20, it is 10, from 10. He will give me for 19. If I'm buying more than 20, he's giving me for 18. If I'm buying for more than 31, he's giving for 17. Let me keep it as 11. Okay, I'm saving it. And you also have one more option here, which is called text. If you want to maintain the conditions, whenever supplier is supplying these goods, and he may have his terms and condition for this particular material, and even you might have some terms and condition for this particular material with this vendor, that text can be maintained here. And this text can be printed in the purchase order when you're sending PO to the supplier. Okay, as of now, I'm not maintaining anything because in P2P cycle, we'll maintain and check this. So I'm saving this. So info record got created. Info record number is this. This is the info record number ending with 192. Now let me go and create the PO. Okay, I put the supplier, put the purchase order. I'm just putting the purchase group, the material, and the plant. As soon as I put the plant, now the price field is blank. The price will come automatically. So it came automatically as 19 because the scaling was set but wrong. So it is taking 19 rupees. Okay. Now if I increase and you also have the delivery date because we had the planned delivery time 30 days. So today's date is 15th of June and delivery date automatically got calculated with 15th of July because we set 30 days. Okay. Now if I put a quantity 10, there is no source of supply is blocked. Let me remove the block and come back. Create a new. Okay, I'm putting a quantity of 10 pieces. If a system is telling me that increase 1 liter, create a PO for 11 liter, you are going to get for less price. System will still intimate you. So I'll put 11 here. So the price got changed to 18.05. If I increase the quantity to 21, 17.10. If I'm increasing it for 31, it is for 16.15. If I increase for 41, no, because we ended the scaling there in the 31. So what all is picking? You have the delivery date coming from PIR, the price coming from PIR, and if you have maintained any reminders, that also will come here. You have the reminders coming here. You have the lead time coming. Okay. And you have this GR based invoice verification coming. Okay. And you also have the minimum order quantity. So I said that I'll be placing more than 10 pieces. If I place 5 pieces, what happens? System will give an error saying that the order quantity is below the minimum order quantity, which is 10 liter. Because in info record, we maintain 10 liter as MOQ. Now in placing for 5 pieces. So system will give an error. So these are the information which are flowing from the info record. And if you have the info record, you can still go ahead and fix the vendor. If I fix the vendor, what happens? Let me show you. If I fix the vendor, fixing the vendor will not impact on the purchase order. Okay. Fixing the vendor matters when you're raising a purchase requisition. You'll understand what is purchase requisition, what is purchase order tomorrow. So let me raise a purchase requisition. So this is the purchase requisition, looks similar to the purchase order. I'll take this material. I'm taking this material, sorry, missed something. I'm taking this and putting it over here. I'm putting the quantity, plant, store location, purchase group. Okay. Here, if I see source of supply, system is automatically picking 725. This is fixed vendor because you have an option called fixed vendor here. If I don't fix, then system will give you a list of vendors from whom you can choose. Okay, if I go back, if I remove this fixed vendor and save and create the requisition again, let's see here, system of my plant is different. Okay, system is still picking this fixed vendor because you have the info record. If you don't have the info record, or if you have info record for both, let me do that. Let me create the info record for both. I'll just create a normal one with the mandatory fields. Okay, I have the info record for both now. Now, if I go and create a purchase requisition, all these options I'll explain tomorrow in the purchase requisition, the purchase order, because tomorrow's topic is going to be B2B cycle. I'm just showing this how the info record and the source list is going to react. So in the source of supply, I have 2 lines coming now. Initially, when we had only 725 as a fixed vendor, we used to see the fixed vendor. And we did not have the info record for the 111 vendor. So it was also still showing 725 as a vendor. Now I have 2 vendors in my source list. and 2 info records created for those. So system is proposing me both the lines. It is giving me who is the supplier, what is the info record number, what is the price of this material with this vendors, and it also gives you the delivery date. Now see the delivery date, it was 30 days, which I mentioned. In planned delivery date, I did not mention anything, so it is taking today's date. And you also have the price here. Okay, the buyer can still compare the price from which supplier I can buy with lower price and can order from here. So these are the options and these are the advantages you get from the purchase info record and the source list. Whenever you are working on info record and the source list, always work combinedly. So give an option to business, you need to use a source list and the purchase info record in a combination, so that will give you more advantages. Okay. Any questions?
Sir, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
We have practiced this or tomorrow, after tomorrow class, we have to practice.
Yes, it is better.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Mm, Sir, as you mentioned that these are the part of end user job. These both functions, source list maintain and PIR, that is purchase info record. But for new implementation, who does these things? The consultant has to do, or is there any super user who will do this?
Which activity you mean now?
Sorry,
Which activity you meant? Creation of PIR or decision of
both.
PIR?
Source list creation and PIR, the purchase info record. Who will
Source
does
list
that?
and purchase info record creation is done by the end users with the
Mm.
approval of their category managers.
For new implementation,
New
if we are
implementation, for new implementation, if you have a mass upload, then it is done by consultants.
okay. Sir, another question is that for material we can use this particular thing. For service, how it is done? Is there any standardization?
For service, you will not have any info record.
Okay.
For service, you will have service master directly.
Okay.
Any questions? Okay. If no questions, then we will wrap here.
Do we have class today evening?
No, not today evening. I'll share the revised schedule in some time. So we will start our level 2 after P2P cycle.
Okay.
Okay. I'll send the revised schedule in a couple of minutes, and we'll follow the same schedule going forward. Okay. If anyone does not have any question, can we wrap up here?
Sure.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
User.
Thank you.